people's affection for the show and is overwhelming, but it's incredible people's investment in characters and understanding of the complexity of stories and relationships. Some of the areas we film in, our community is directly affected by the topic, and they've made us so welcome. I met this guy coming out of his shop, and a homeless guy, and he is a huge fan of the show, and he said that at their shelter all the guys put their money together to buy the box set and they used to watch it every Wednesday. And I was just kind of going, that's when you go, wow, this is something really quite, special actually. And that was incredibly humbling. Loads of people come up and ask you for photographs, and they can be very sweet because they can be quite nervous about it. And I'm thrilled, more than happy. So me and my family were in the zoo, and a lot of people come up and ask for photographs. I was doing photographs, and so they looked very kind of. And then me and my wife were walking through Temple Bar, and we saw Gabriel Byrne, and I just went, oh my God, there's Gabriel Byrne. And we were kind of going up and down the same street, trying to catch his attention or thinking, and me and my wife going, what do we say, getting so nervous about us, because we're huge fans of his show In Treatment. And by the time we gathered the courage to go and say he was gone, so we were like, so.
And background action.
People ask me, do you get sick of, not get sick of playing it, but are you worried you get too associated with this character? But the thing is that, firstly, a character that can come along once in an actor's lifetime, and secondly, he's a different man in every series. The first 2.5 series, he had all these kind of colours of the humour, the comic, the intensity. But I think after the attack on Tommy and the subsequent betrayal of Darren and Stuart's kind of bleeding out of the comedy of the character, I think he's starting to go into areas, and in this coming series he's going into areas that are very dark, and it'll be interesting to see if people's love for him is challenged. And again, that's why Stuart is such a brilliant writer, because he'll undercut and negate if an audience align with a certain character. Stuart will do something to say, do you still like this guy? Are you sure you like this guy?
When we decided it was going to happen and I was going to come over and do the show, I went onto my Facebook page and I just jokingly said, oh, does anyone know anything about this show, Love Hate? I'm going to go back to do it. And I had quicker and more responses from my cousins than the birth of both my children. So that says something about Love Hate. The problem with entering with a character like Moynihan and coming onto a show like Love Hate is people have grown fond of and love these hoodlums who, although they have a glint in their eye and they're considered rascals in some ways, are thugs. And in real life, none of us would want them as our neighbour. So how do you introduce a character like Moynihan that will be, I don't want to call him a nemesis of Nidge, but he's certainly going to have a strong point of view, which is the law, to counteract characters that we all love. But I think Stuart does have some sense of moral justice. Not necessarily that it'll play out that way, but he does bring a sense of normalcy, or our version of normalcy, to a show that is questions morals. And I know there's been talk about glamorizing, perhaps in some ways, the exploits of Nidge and his friends. Despite the fact when I watch Love Hate, I see these people who are utterly broke and paranoid, and at the end of season 3 they're horrendous characters, broken and paranoid and injured, and Nidge is almost like Richard III, kind of falling around Dublin. But with the introduction of detectives, we add a sense of obviously reality into the whole thing. And as wonderful as it's been to work with the actors in Love Hate, and work with Stuart, and work with David Cafferty, everyone involved in Love Hate, the singular greatest part about this job is witnessing the work of the Garda Síochána in Ireland. You know, I hope that we can do them justice. And I know that Stuart is writing it that way. It's our job to kind of show this other force that exists within Ireland.
Lizzie to date has, she's really been through the mill, I suppose. She started off as just, I suppose, kind of inconspicuous younger sister of two members of the IRA, Dano's henchmen. And through the course of one meeting, I suppose, with Darren, got sucked into this underworld. And from there, her life started to slowly spiral out of control.
You're gonna act like a muppet, Wayne. I've no use for you.
Lizzie is very different from the girls. I mean, all the girls in this show are strong in very different ways. And I really, it's been said to me a lot, you know, the women are weak and they're all victims. And I've said before, you know, everybody in the show is a victim of the life they're leading or the relationships they have. Nobody gets out unscathed in this. Especially as you see last season with Killian's character and Robbie's character and Lawrence's character. The men are as much victims as the women are. But Lizzie is different from the other girls in so much as her involvement, her hands-on involvement, I suppose. And she's not more naive. There is a loyalty, and she does what she does out of love. I mean, in certain regards, I suppose the others are like that as well, but she's willing to get her hands dirty. And maybe doesn't fully understand the consequences of what she's doing, but she will involve herself and will do what she does in the last series because of the love for her brothers. And then her love for Darren.
Because it's so fucking important, Lizzie, you know what I mean? That no one susses this out.
I know that, Dano.
As shocking as it was that it happened, it kind of made as much sense that she was the person to shoot Darren in the end of the series, because it was the minute she laid eyes on him that her world started to slowly fall apart.
Gonna go for it now, eh? I can get the car going ready to go.
No. Well, he gets out of the car.
The reaction to killing Darren has been mixed. Very mixed. I had the fear of God, to be perfectly honest with you, when I first read it. And it wasn't helped by, I remember in the read-through for the second block, I was sitting beside Maureen Hughes, the casting agent, and she leaned into me after we read the last episode and said, "Oh, you are going to be the most hated woman in Ireland." I thought, coming from the casting director, that's not a great start.
First of all, I think in some situations, Fran doesn't really know how to deal with people. I mean, he's kind of animalistic as a person. Like, he'll just shoot from the hip straight away and say what he's thinking. He's not, like, you know, as tactful as Nige or some of the others are. With season 3, he became a kind of character that was free and easy, who had this lust for life after coming out of jail. He wasn't as menacing initially, you know, because at the start of season 2, he was threatening women at their front doors with their children watching, and I just think that free spirit, everyone likes that. And I mean, it's the kind of character that, as people said, you'd like to go out for a couple of beers with, or, you know. But at the same time, as we see as the third series progressed, that, like, he still has that tendency or ability to twist or to flip at any point, and that he's willing to do the nasty business for the greater good. You try and stay in character. I mean, you don't want people to think that you're being rude or anything, but you just stay in your trailer and have your lunch by yourself and switch everything off. Maybe listen to a song that gets you into kind of an aggro mood, like Prodigy or something, you know, music for the jilted generation, Poison, something like that, you know. So yeah, you do try and kind of stick to yourself, or just kind of but people understand. I mean, at this point, excuse me, people understand that when you kind of move away from the group, that you're kind of doing something. Tom does it a good bit, and you know that that's the actor's time to kind of get into character. Like, I mean, there's scenes that are more difficult than others because you have to try and get into the zone, and like the shaving of the head last year with Donna. I mean, I wasn't going to come in that day and have crack on set, especially not with Donna or anything, because you need to straight away try and get some kind of, I suppose, realism into the scene, and not to be, you can't really be buzzing and then kind of get into intense moments.